Oh yeah, what's up everybody? How y'all doing out there? I am Frank Red. This is another edition of the In the Dungeon Show. Glad to be with you, and looking forward to talking about all of the good things that's happening in the world of sports. Of course, there are some highlights. The men's and women's NC2A championship tournament is taking place, and we're going to talk about both because. Um, as a longtime supporter of the women in college basketball, I am so happy for these young ladies to now have them be a part of the national sports scene and not just kind of like uh, like a not a sideshow, but an entity that you had to really look for and appreciate if you wanted to. That's no longer the case. I think women's basketball at the professional level and at the college level is front and center in the consciousness of the average sports fan. And I don't think that it's just a moment. I think it's real. I think that we're going to be seeing this for the foreseeable future, and maybe beyond what we can even conceive at this point, because there's so many good players. I love it. I love it. The Juju Watkins of the world. I mean, she's a freshman. Some of the high school players, some of the players in college that's going to decide to come back, i.e. Paige Beckers, and so many others. So, the college game is pretty healthy, and certainly at the professional ranks, they have some stars that they can build around, which is really, really good. So we're going to talk about the men as well. An interesting Final Four. Certainly not what I think most of us thought would be, with the exception of UConn. I didn't see NC State making it. Purdue, I thought had a shot, and Alabama. No, I didn't see Alabama make it either. I saw St. Mary's beating Alabama. But I think for the most part, people think that UConn is the prohibitive favorite. I do. I got some time in the game, so I can go back to when UNLV were the prohibitive favorite over Duke after blowing them out by 30 in the previous year. And guess what? Duke won. I can even remember when Villanova, the Wildcats, probably had one of the top two upsets of all time when they beat the mighty Georgetown Hoyas. That was crazy. And I don't think watching video can really do it justice. I saw it live, and unbelievable. I actually know Gary McClain, the much maligned Gary McClain, the point guard of Villanova Wildcats. He's from Long Island. I'm from Long Island, so kind of knew him a little bit. And also, you go back to '83, North Carolina State with Lorenzo Charles getting the rebound off of Whittington's air ball to win over the vaulted Houston Cougars. Fly Sama Jamma, led by Hakeem Olajuwon, who would go on to greatness in the NBA along with Clyde Drexler. So, giving you a little backstory of how we've got to where we are. Danny Hurley, I think, has a well-oiled machine, and he is a nod to the quote old school. He's mixing, I think, new wave coaching techniques, but by and large, he's a meat and potatoes coach. I mean, he had a storied career as a high school coach in Jersey after working with his father, the great Bob Hurley, who's one of 4 coaches in history who are in the Hall of Fame. So the pedigree is there, and obviously his brother Bobby, All-American national champion at Duke. So we're going to talk about the NC2A. It is all good. My name is Frank Red. What's up, everybody? This is the In the Dungeon Show. Hit me up at Big Frank Red on X. And at some point, if you decide that you like the show and you want to subscribe to it, then hit that button as well. Now, if you watch the show, if you listen to it, we follow the Warriors pretty closely. And every game is the most important game of the season at this point. And that is the case tomorrow night. Maybe the hottest team in the NBA right now is the Dallas Mavericks. Aesthetically, they look like a juggernaut. And somehow, some way, the Warriors have to strap it up and play against them and beat them tomorrow night at Chase for their prospects to continue to look promising. They have some players out. Jonathan Kuminga, they need him. I don't know if he's going to play or not, but we can talk about it. That's a game that you have to add the home crowd into the mix. With their veteran players, you would expect that they would find a way to pull out a victory, but it's not going to be easy. And if they lost to Dallas, nobody would be surprised. And oh, by the way, tonight we have a guest that's been on the program in the past, someone who I like to have on. I respect his opinions, and just a welcome addition to the program. Let's just go out and reach out to my man, Brian Iglesias.
What's up, Frank? What's going on, baby?
I am maintaining, and for the first time, I'm going to try to, work the knobs on my dashboard to the point where, the show can look presentable. So I want to thank you for jumping in here. I told you before, your media game background scene is stepping up about 100%. So, like to see the work you put in, brother.
Hey, man, I'm looking pretty scraggly right now for you, so I hope it's not too bad looking. But hey, I'm ready to talk some more basketball.
Really? Come on. Who cares?
Just out the shower.
Who cares?
Exactly.
This is content. Well, yeah, Brian is well astute in the world of sports, follows basketball, but you cover everything. I read your stuff on X, and you're very passionate. You have your own opinions, well thought out. You're active on X, Twitter, and I like to have you on. And we don't always agree, which is even better. I kind of set the stage for the importance of the Warriors game tomorrow. They take on the Dallas Mavericks, who don't have the best record, and they conceivably could fall into the play-in. But aesthetically, when they're playing well, they look really good.
No, you're exactly right. I mean, there's a 5th seed in the West right now. It's going to be interesting to see the Warriors try to break out of this slump of, okay, you have a good win on the road against San Antonio, but you're going to your own house of horrors. It's Chase Center, apparently, and somehow you can't win there. Like, I don't know what the issue is. Do you not like sleeping in your own bed at night? Do you not like seeing your family? I don't know. But it's kind of like it's the reverse opposite of what a team should be on the road and what a team should be at home. But it's going to be interesting to see. I just want them to come out, and I just want them to play hard. I just want them to do well. Like, I really like their defensive effort the last couple of weeks. And I heard a lot of people said, oh, it's only San Antonio, or it's only a bottom feeder team. Like, they held Orlando. I know that wasn't the greatest shooting performance, but they held them to below their average of scoring. Like, that's a 4th place team in the East. I know they had an off shooting night, but that's still a great defensive effort, right?
Well,
nobody wants to give them credit for that.
Here's the deal. I've always said this, and I'll say it again. Good teams don't play against their opponent. They play against their standard. And I didn't think Orlando played particularly well, but I thought that the Warriors had something to do with that. And the reality is, when the Warriors are locked in, they have a pretty good defensive scheme, especially with Draymond Green. We're going to talk about that. Draymond did something that I don't think that the average fan can even conceptualize unless they've had some experience playing the game. This guy, who is 6'6", 6'7", guarded Victor Wembanyama 7'3", 7'4", by himself. How many times did the Warriors double team? 0. That is absolutely amazing. And that's why they won. I mean, against the Knicks, my vaulted Knicks, Victor put up 40 and 20. And basically, Draymond held him in check, and Draymond scored 21 on the offensive end. That was an incredible performance by him. One of the best efforts that I've seen him play in his career. And I don't think it's hyperbole. He was awesome last night.
I mean, Victor was awesome last night, too. He scored 32 on, 32 from the field. What, he have 9 rebounds? He almost had 32 and 10 and 6. Like, he was great, but I think the majority of his points came when TJD was guarding. I'm not sure, but that's what you expect from a rookie, to give up to an all-world rookie who might be the face of the league in 2-3 years. They both were fantastic.
Yeah, they were. And some of the shots that he made, it wouldn't matter who's guarding him. Anytime he doesn't score in the paint, it's
a win.
That's Victor magic, man. I mean, think about it. I mean, this guy, it's easy for him to shoot the ball from 28 feet, from 30 feet. I mean, nobody's ever seen anything like it before. We can't say we never will again because we're watching it now. In 3 to 5 years, he's the best player in the league. That quick.
You think he's the face of the NBA in 3 to 5 years?
I think he's the best player in the league. Face of the league is something that I think.
Same thing? That's the same thing in my. I think that's the same thing in my estimation.
No,
you don't think so?
No. I don't think so because the fans decide that, not the corporate heads. The corporate heads would want you to think that they decided, and they're going to push it. And sometimes it works like that because I think you could argue that for more than a few years, Stephen Curry or LeBron James were the face of the league.
Yeah.
But it doesn't always work that way because the markets are segmentized. When Jordan was the best player in the NBA and the quote unquote face of the league, there was a community of Allen Iverson fans that rolled with him just as hard as Jordan fans did. You know?
That is true.
And you know, I mean, when LeBron was in his heyday, Kobe was still there. You know, no Kobe fan's ever going to say that LeBron is the signature face of the league. So it's a good problem for the NBA when they have so many good players that quote title gets segmentized. In terms of talent, I think Victor's going to be the best player in the league in 3 to 5 years.
So when it comes to face of the league, like, what do you think, like, just a generalization of a player, like, what categories, like, if I had 3 main categories for face of the league, what do you think would, like, be in those categories?
Well, I mean, number one, the face of the league is
production. Probably right.
Well, definitely production, but equally important is the guy who's going to get us all paid. You know, you know, who can we put on TV and run those numbers up? Okay,
commercialization, right?
Absolutely. And I would say, thirdly, and some folks might not want to hear this, but there is a level of intelligence that I think that the league wants its quote best players to represent. That doesn't mean that you need a master's degree from Harvard, but you should be able to communicate to various audiences in a way that they get. You know what I'm saying? And Stephen Curry does that extremely well, which is why the Warriors are on television more than anybody else. Besides, I mean, think about this. The Warriors are still the most popular team in the NBA by a long shot. And they've been hovering around the mid-40s in terms of wins for a long period of time.
Yeah,
for the last couple
exactly
of years.
Right.
So
you're exactly right. They're even a 10th seed, and there's still people want to watch them because of one man. People want to watch them because of one man. Steph Curry.
And style of play also. Yeah. I mean,
of course.
And you know what? There are a lot of smart basketball fans out there also. And if you're a smart basketball fan, minus the shenanigans, to watch Draymond Green play basketball is truly, it's like watching a Broadway play. Literally, every aspect of the game he has his fingers on, and it's not normal. It's not normal to be that proficient at all of the nuances of the game that he's great at. So the Warriors have a lot of good things going for themselves. Then you have like these little cherries, these little nuggets, the Jonathan Kumingas of the world that people might have written off, who's all of a sudden starting to really show what he's capable of doing. So, there's a lot of reasons why people like to watch the Golden State Warriors.
I want to go back to the face of the league before we get into the Warriors really quick.
Sure.
Going off of the 3 points you have to produce on the court, of course. That's just a general. You have to be able to be commercialized. You have to have some sort of commercialization factor, like people want to watch you. I think you also have to have a little spice to your game.
No question.
You have to have a little flair. Now, I'm just going to shout out 3 names. This just popped in my head. Victor Wembanyama.
Yep.
Anthony Edwards.
Yep.
Or Shea Gilgeous-Alexander.
Yeah.
Those 3 players. Who do you think out of those 3 players will be the fastest face of the league?
Again, I think you have to compartmentalize the audiences. Anthony Edwards is going to have more of the swag crowd, because he's young, he's good looking, he's cool. He's not a square peg. There's some things out there about him that people will kind of latch on to. Victor is not from the United States, so he doesn't understand the United States culture, the American culture. So, listen, corporate America, the NBA executives, the owners, their mouths are watering collectively about what they could do with this guy from a marketing perspective. Everybody's going to get paid. Shea to me, again, I don't know if it's a Canada factor. He was in the United States of Kentucky, but he's a little too quiet for a superstar player. I actually think, meaning that his game is outstanding. Don't get me wrong, but is he really? We don't know anything about him. We know.
You know what's going to help that?
What?
When he goes deep in the playoffs.
Okay.
When he goes deep
you
in
might
the
be
playoffs.
right. I would say Luka, if he can stop getting texts. If Luka and Kyrie has done so much. Listen, Kyrie has done so much to ingratiate this guy with the American consciousness, because everybody was like, he and Kyrie's not going to work. You know what? Kyrie went to Dallas and said, listen, watch me work. You might think that you're good and you are terrific, but you ain't winning without me, homeboy. LeBron won his first title. Well, actually, not his third title with me, because I'm that dude. And Kyrie has so much swag to the point where I think some of us rubbing off on Luka, to be quite honest with you. And I'm not really a Luka fan, but I cannot discount what that guy can do with a basketball in his hands. He's phenomenal. He really is.
I'm not discounting him. And Mark Graves had a great comment. I think I agree with Mark. He needs to stop complaining to the refs as much. I know everybody wants to complain after every single call. It's like, when I see Luka, when I watch him play, I always see him palms up. Like, why me? Why me? It's like, dude, you're too good. Play basketball. Stop complaining.
Yeah. Let's give our guy a proper introduction. My man Mark Graves, who's always stepping in the dungeon. I appreciate you so much, brother. He says Luka needs to stop complaining as well. Yeah, no question about that. I also want to say what's up to Parker. Hey, Parker, how you doing? Thank you for stepping in the dungeon. I appreciate you. Yeah, but you know what? I mean, you and I having a conversation now about multiple players. I haven't even mentioned a guy who is just having basketball fans wrap their arms around him regardless of where they are, and that's Jalen Brunson. He's going to be one of the faces of the league. Particularly, particularly in a place like New York where they love basketball and they know basketball. Dude's father is an assistant coach on the Knicks. He's so damn consistent. He's so about ball. The NBA is actually in pretty good shape. You know, we always have these woe is me moments when we start to see players like a Stephen Curry or a LeBron, and we go, what's going to happen when those guys retire? The league's in pretty damn good shape, man. It really is.
I can make an argument that the league might be in the best shape it's ever been in its entire 70, 75 years, 76 years of existence.
No question about it. It is. It is.
Just
we haven't talked about Giannis.
No. We haven't even talked about the MVP 2 times. He was going to win it 3 times. Jokic.
Right.
I mean, I know his game's not flashy, but he's the best player in the NBA right now.
Embiid. The league, listen.
The league is as healthiest as it's been, and you know what? It's only going to keep on growing. With social media, with access to every single game that you have, like on NBA League Pass, it's going to, you know what? I think, football is king in America, but basketball is creeping up there. And I think basketball around the world is way bigger than football, way bigger than the NFL.
No, you're absolutely right. And here's a real issue, and I can talk about it because I played on a great high school team when I was in high school a long time ago in New York against some of the best players during that particular time. And my squad was mixed, half black, half white. It was awesome, to live in all of those worlds. And I only mention that because a lot of times the narrative can get to the point where we don't see the game being open to everybody. And that's a bunch of crap. If you can play, you can play. And I mention that because Cooper Flagg's coming down the road. All right? And
didn't he commit to Duke?
Yeah.
Right?
So, yeah. Cooper Flagg's going to be a freshman at Duke, right? The Cooper Flagg, he just happens to be white. Dude's one of the best players, one of the best kind of personality types to come out of high school in a long period of time. So he's going to spark it up next year also. And a lot of what you didn't see at Duke this year in terms of toughness and swag and all of that, I think you're going to see next year. Kyle Filipowski, and I might be butchering his name, I apologize. Could he come out and be a first-round pick this year? Probably. Should he? No way in hell. He just got handled by DJ Butts, right? Where's my DJ? The guy from North Carolina State, who's a hell of a talent, kind of a lightweight Zach Randolph. But if Cooper Flagg does what I think most people think he can do at Duke, and Flip stays at Duke, they're going to be a pretty good team next year. So wouldn't surprise me if they are in the Final Four next year.
I heard North Carolina State center might go for the NFL. Might be like a left tackle. You hear that? He's having.
They're talking about it. Well. You know what? They're talking about it. He certainly has the size. He certainly has the feet. I played football and basketball in college. It's certainly not as glamorous as basketball. If I was him, and he loves the game of basketball, I would give it a shot because I think what he needs to do is get himself in shape. If he gets himself in shape and he expands his game, I think he could actually play in the NBA because he has good feet, he has a nice touch, and I know that he can make millions overseas.
Definitely.
So think about it. A reserve in the NBA now is making really, really good money. A solid offensive tackle in the NFL, you're going to get paid. That's a tough-ass way to make a living, man. In the middle of December, 17 degrees, people running into your knees. You're on your 3rd or 4th knee surgery. Not the best way to make a living, man. It's really, really tough. But listen, we're going to get into the Warriors. But let's give some respect to the youngins first. And I want to start with the ladies, all right? The Final Four has been set now. You have UConn taking on Iowa. And you have South Carolina taking on North Carolina State. Let's start with the Iowa-UConn matchup. If you look at my Twitter log X, I picked UConn to win. There's a lot of hype surrounding Juju Watkins for good reason. She's an outstanding player. But I've watched UConn play probably at least 7 or 8 times this year from start to finish. And I just thought that they had more balance. I thought that their guard play would overwhelm USC because they're pretty limited in terms of who they have to play offense. So I'm not surprised that UConn won. And while Paige Beckers might not be as athletic as some of the top tier players that we're talking about now, she's a future star in the WNBA. She's already a star in college. And I knew that she would put pretty close to 30 points on the board. She had 28. What do you see between Iowa and UConn? Who do you see winning that?
I just see Caitlin Clark just going off. I mean, she had 41 tonight.
Yeah.
41 points against LSU. It's like every time I watch Caitlin Clark, she's unstoppable. It seems like no team has an answer for her. And you know what? You know what's so great about her? It seems like her game's just effortless. Like she's like, oh, I can get to any spot I want. If I want to get to an easy layup, if I want to do a left-handed reverse layup, I want to get a step-back three, if I want to get an elbow range jumper, she can get any jump shot she wants in college. It's almost like she's playing a video game, and she knows what she knows what she wants. And you know what? Until someone beats them, I'm rolling with Iowa. I mean, I know Paige. I don't know how to say her last name, Paige, but
Beckers.
And some are like, oh, she's the best player in college. I'm thinking, well, Caitlin Clark seems like the best player in college, but just because Gino Arietta said Paige is the best player, people want to take that as gossip. But I mean, it's going to be interesting.
It was close when they came out of high school when they were playing. Yeah. Paige was looked upon as being the best before her 2 knee surgeries, and Caitlin Clark had her fans that spoke glowingly about what she could do. I mean, they've been playing against each other for a long period of time. My whole thing about Caitlin Clark, I love watching her play. I think she's outstanding. She's obviously great for the game. But Kim Mulkey as a coach, from a defensive scheme perspective, I thought was just god-awful. I mean, listen. I can see Caitlin Clark getting 30 against pretty much anybody. But she would have to work for that 30. Getting 40 with the type of athletes that LSU has? I mean, give me a break. I mean, they didn't really double her. They didn't have a good scheme against her at all. So that worked well for Caitlin. I'm happy for her. This narrative continues. It's a beautiful story. And could they beat UConn? Hell yeah. I think UConn is a little more talented, but the narrative of the story might be stronger than the play of the players because Caitlin's teammates are really stepping up in ways that we haven't necessarily seen before. They're playing really well also.
I remember I thought I read an article here probably like a couple of days ago about Kim Mulkey, and it was a great quote. It was about her wearing feathers and she ruffles feathers. I'm like, that's hilarious.
Right.
But she's not my cup of tea when it comes to coaching. She just seems like all flash, and she got exposed tonight. She didn't have a game plan for her. That's why Caitlin Clark scored 41 points.
Yeah,
41.
I mean, Caitlin hit some rainbows, hit some long shots, but her usage rate was really, really high. She played damn near the whole game. I just would have thought the LSU, with the type of athletes they have, Flage and some of the other young ladies, they could have done a better job getting the ball out of Caitlin's hands. And they really didn't do that. Even though her teammates, again, I can't think of all their names, but they made some open shots. I thought LSU could have done a better job. I was kind of rooting for Iowa, to be honest with you. I'm happy that they won. Let's look at the other side. You got South Carolina against North Carolina State. I saw North Carolina State play UConn like game 3 or 4 of the season, and they whooped UConn's butt. They're good. Rajane James, I think her name. I can't think of her name. I'm sorry. She had 7 threes the last game. En route to making it to the Final Four. So North Carolina State is good. They're not as good as South Carolina. They're just not. South Carolina has more depth. I think they have comparable guard play. And ultimately, I think it's going to come down to Iowa versus South Carolina. Even though,
South Carolina, yeah.
Yeah, even though I think UConn is better, I think this narrative of Caitlin Clark is going to will them to another victory. And, they're going to match up against South Carolina. And at that point, in the championship game, you never know. What we do know is it will be the highest rated college women's game of all time. And it might rival the men's numbers. It might.
There's been a lot of talk that the women's game right now, the women's tournament, is way better in terms of numbers compared to the men's. And you know what? I kind of agree with that. Like, I haven't been impressed with the men's game. Like, it's kind of been like North Carolina State's a great story. Like Purdue's there. Houston got knocked off. They were my pick in one of my brackets. So it's like, all right. But you haven't really seen like spectacular plays who you want to like cling on to, like Caitlin Clark or even like Paige Buchers. Or,
Beckers.
I don't know. Beckers. Sorry, Paige Beckers. Yeah,
you know what? I think I might be getting a little ahead of myself for this reason. Betting. So we can't discount the fact that the men's game still captures the betting market in ways that the women can't they can't even think about that. So the ratings will be higher. But if you look at the percentages of increase from last year to this year, there's no doubt that the women, they might even double their numbers. Last year, they had almost 10 million. I could see them drawing between 15 and 20 million fans this year because of the story. It's really been a bonanza for ESPN. It really has been.
It really has been. And you know what? You know what my dream is? You know what's coming to the Bay Area? Coming to the Bay Area in 2025, Frank.
Yeah.
WNBA. WNBA, baby.
I'm looking forward to it.
I'm
looking forward to it. And I just think that they're really accessible to everybody. You know what I'm saying? And they're giving away a lot of tickets to gain interest and stuff like that because they're going to be a hit. The Warriors are so well run. I can't see the WNBA team owned by Joe Lacob not doing the things that they need to do to make sure that this organization is successful. So it's a good look for the Bay Area because the Bay Area produces so many great women basketball players. So
yeah. It would be my dream. I don't know if this is going to happen, but I'm praying. Hey, Caitlin Clark to the Bay Area. How awesome would that be?
Well, that's not happening that's not happening because she's being drafted number 1 overall by Indiana, right? And they ain't letting her go. So, and they actually need her more. So, let's say what's up. SG, what's up, brother? It was great co-hosting with you the other night. That was awesome.
Oh, you got SG on? You got SG on? I like it.
I'll tell you about it in a second. Mark Graves says, women's game is dominated by the favorites. Not enough upsets. Okay. Yeah, you're right. But the story, I think is better right now, Mark. But yeah, you're right. It's the Bay team guarantee the first pick as an expansion? Probably, yeah. Yeah, I think that they are. I don't know that for sure, but I think that they are. They're going to have a good team. They're going to have a decent team. Maybe not right away, but I think that they will be good. Here's my SG story. SG reached out to me a couple of days ago to be a guest on a show that he was going to be on, hosted by Bay Area Baller.
You got on Barry Ballin? Oh man,
Yeah.
I haven't talked to Eric in a while.
Yes. I got on Barry Baller's show, and it was outstanding. It was awesome being a guest, and the three of us kind of chalked it up. SG was surprisingly normal, which would shock the hell out of me.
Shocked the hell out of me too.
I mean, he was a lot of fun, and I want to give a shout out to SG for inviting me because we had a great time, and I'd love to do that again. All right, so we're gonna be watching women's basketball, the men's. It's not the game is the game. I don't know if there's any players left that the NBA is drooling over to see wearing an NBA uniform. There's a lot of talk about Zach Edey. I think he is a pro. A lot of people say this guy can't play in the NBA. I'm like, are you crazy? Look at the numbers he's putting up. But he has to go to the right organization. Hence, not the Warriors. All right? But if he goes to a team like the Washington Wizards, why can't he play for the Washington Wizards? Give me a break.
First of all, I don't think going back to got to be the right organization. I think that organization is dysfunctional. I think they just don't even know what they're doing on a basketball court. And honestly, if he goes to the Wizards, he'll probably be out of the league or be on 3 or 4 different teams. It has to be to the right organization. If he goes to like
Indiana,
if he goes to like maybe, but I don't think they're going to get him. Maybe like the Memphis Grizzlies, because I think he might be a top pick.
I don't
you can
think
get
so.
him. You don't think so?
No. I mean, what do you mean by top pick? What do you mean by that?
Maybe like a top 15,
top okay.
20 pick. Not like a top 10 pick.
Oh, yeah, okay.
But,
okay, I see 15 to 25. But when I think of top pick, I think of like top 10.
Oh,
he's not going to be drafted in top 10.
Not a lottery pick, no.
No, 15 to 25, I think somebody's going to take a chance on it.
And I guarantee you, I know the fan base well. They're clamoring for a big man. You tell me 65% of the fan base wouldn't take him in a heartbeat? I think they would.
Why do you care about the fan base, though? You've said that before. Why do you care about that?
Because I just listen to all these people who are fans of the team, and they're like, the top five responses are, Kerr's not a good coach. Steph needs the ball in his hands more. Clay's washed. Draymond Green's not a great player anymore. He's washed. And one of them is, we don't have a necessary big man.
But hold on, though. You know basketball. Do those people know anything about basketball? Come on,
no, I
man.
just like to provoke, Frank. I just like to provoke. And you know me. I just know that 75% of the fan base who clamors for a big man would take him in a heartbeat. They would.
I hear you. I'm not a. I love fans who are really, really informed about basketball. I mean, I do. And when they're not, I get it because they got jobs. They got families. They got things to do. Why would they be an expert on something like basketball? I mean, they're probably great coders or business owners, teachers, firemen, police officers, whatever they do, they're probably experts at it. But if you don't spend time watching the game and actually being immersed in it, I don't know how you could really be smart at it. So when I hear somebody say something like they don't have enough size, they need a big man. Like, no, they need a big guy who knows how to play. Different, totally different thing. So,
like, I'm not sure if you heard Bob Myers talk. I want to say it was last year's. Like, yeah, we can get a 7-footer, but if he doesn't know how to play, he's not going to play. He's not going to see the court.
Yeah, right.
Like,
no. I heard Bob say that. I did. I heard that.
We with
Mark
that.
Graves says anyone saying Kerr is not a good coach don't know basketball. I would agree with that. I would agree with that.
Go check Eck. It's all over there. They're critiquing his rotations every single time. Oh, why do you play Moses?
Well, his rotations have been a problem. I mean, here's the thing. There's a difference between saying somebody is not a good coach versus he's not perfect. He's not perfect. And that's okay because none of us are perfect. But Kerr's not a great coach? Give me a break.
See, I think people would lump it together. I really think so. people will be like, "Oh, you didn't play Jonathan Kuminga an extra 2 minutes in Dallas when he could have." It's like, "Oh, you didn't play Steph Curry an extra 3 minutes in Minnesota when they could have won the game." Oh, he's garbage. Fire him. Like, I literally heard people say fire him before he got the contract extension. I'm thinking, what are you talking about? Are you watching the games? Do you want to go back to Mark Jackson? Hello?
Stop it. Mark's a friend of mine, man. Stop it, dude. Mark's a friend of mine.
I propose, but it's true. It's true.
And Mark did a hell of a job. Mark is not in. No. Mark is not in the. Listen, Mark's not in the NBA because he got blackballed. He's even used that term, which is some bullshit, and I don't like it.
I understand,
but
let me say this:
no,
Mark Jackson.
I'm joking.
No, I know. Mark Jackson, he built the culture. This team wouldn't be anywhere near it is without Mark Jackson on the defensive end. But you can't tell me that Steve Kerr didn't take that culture and just bring it to a higher level that he could never do with their offensive defensive schemes. No way.
Defensively, I think Mark had them among the best in the league, and they were only going to get better. Now,
exactly.
Now, offensively, man, listen, Kerr is a freaking genius. I watch coaches. I study coaches. His out-of-bounds plays are just masterful. I mean, there's some coaches who do a good job. He's among the best all time. They get great shots out of timeouts. And their scheme is amazing. Listen, I coached girls this year, little 12, 13-year-old girls, right? If I ever go back to coaching high school varsity basketball, you know how much stuff I'm stealing from Steve Kerr? I'm stealing everything. Listen, I'm watching the women's play, right? And guess who's running the Warriors split action? Iowa. And they're running it to perfection. Those dive cuts that Caitlin's getting to the basket when she comes off the high screen, and as opposed to go around to the right and get the ball, she changes course and cuts off the backside of the forward at the elbow. That's the Warriors split action.
I heard LeBron say on a podcast, I want to say it was with JJ Redick, that the toughest thing to guard in the NBA was that Warriors split action. Mm-hmm. Like, how crazy is that? One of the greatest, if not the greatest player of our generation, saying, yeah, they were the toughest team I had to guard. Like,
yeah.
That's crazy.
Mark says Kerr took what Mark started and made it better. Absolutely. There's no doubt about that.
Yeah. He made it better, and he made it to something that we could never imagine, that offense. You remember Mark Jackson's offense? It was basically this.
Yeah.
Good Steph Curry pick and roll. It was 1-5 pick and roll. Or do himself.
No,
no movement, no space.
It was very primitive, and I'm gonna say what's interesting about it. He won with that offense, and no, but here's the deal. Let's get deep for a second. Mark could have evolved, and I haven't talked to him, but I don't think that he ever felt totally comfortable with his position within this organization, because he didn't have that relationship with Joe Lacob, and they gave him like a laughable extension. We talked about it, and we couldn't come to a number, and then all of a sudden Steve Kerr gets a 5-year, $25 million deal when Mark was making maybe 2.5. I mean, there's a lot of dirt on both sides. There really is. That was a bad look for everybody. But I think if Mark had felt secure, and if Joe Lacob had felt secure, they could have went out and gotten somebody to help him become a better coach. And I think he would have become a better coach because he's a phenomenal leader. He's a phenomenal leader of men. He understands the game on a high level. Just didn't have a whole lot of coaching experience. And it worked for other people. Mike Malone was his assistant, right? Mike Malone was Mark Jackson's assistant. He was a good assistant. He went to Sacramento, kind of got his coaching chops a little bit, did not deserve to be fired. By the time he got to Denver, year 3, 4, 5, he was ready to go. They don't run the most. They don't run the most sophisticated system, but but they run what he wants them to run, and they play defense. They're tough. They don't turn it over. So I guess my point is, it's almost like NBA owners are afraid that Mark would do well, so they don't want to hire him, which is sad because you got some really bad looks from some NBA teams in various communities in this league, and it's really not fair to the fans. It's really not.
Going back to the Mike Malone, it also doesn't hurt to have a three-time MVP on your team leading the way, and a future Hall of Famer in Jamal Murray. But with Mark Jackson, don't get me wrong, he seemed like a great leader of men. I didn't know him personally. I just knew what he did on the court and what he did coaching-wise. I feel like he didn't connect with his players as best as he could. Like, I feel like Steve Kerr has. Like, I feel like I hear rumblings from players like a certain Australian big man who didn't really care for what Mark Jackson. No, I understand that, but I think that's part of what happened.
Obviously, I wasn't at practice, so I don't know. Obviously, their relationship wasn't great. And I'm not saying
every
that
can have a great relationship.
Yeah, but there might have been some other things too that I think, in retrospect, that Mark might do differently. I don't think there's any doubt about that. But Stephen Curry, Klay Thompson, Draymond Green, Iguodala, they all supported the guy. Not like the casual support. I'm saying, no. They wanted him back. So from that standpoint, that means something to me. That means something to me, only because I played with him, so I know him a little bit. We were kids, so I don't know him like that. But I know him. I played with him several years, played against him. I just don't like to see people not get opportunities, in spite of what might have happened in the past. Because I mean, the NBA Black Book is a mother. You know how many stories there are about players and coaches that the public doesn't know about? People are gainfully employed. To think that one episode in someone's life could limit their opportunities forever in a game, in an organization that outside of coaching, seemingly he's been exemplary at, as a player, as a broadcaster, I mean, it just seems a little odd to me. With that said, let's talk about tomorrow's game. The Warriors play the Dallas Mavericks. Is Kuminga playing, or you don't know?
I don't. You know what? What did he miss the last 3 games with knee tendonitis?
Yeah.
I would think that if honestly, my gut feeling is he doesn't play.
Wow.
That's just my gut feeling, because I don't think they need. I think they could probably. They're thinking to themselves, we've been playing well enough that Andrew Wiggins can step up, and we don't want to risk Jonathan Kuminga for a game in March or April. A game in April when we might need him for a playing game. That's just my gut feeling is, I wouldn't be surprised if he plays. I wouldn't be surprised. But my gut feeling is the way the Warriors handled their injuries is that if they can go a little bit longer when it comes to holding him out. So say he can play tomorrow. Say he does feel good. Maybe hold him out for the next game against Houston when it really matters.
My coach told me this. My head coach, Tom Penders, told me this. And it stuck with me as a player, as a coach, and just one of those nuggets of wisdom that you get from people that you hold on to. He said, you can play hurt, but you can't play injured. So that's an individual thing, right? So if I'm a player, I love to play. And if I think that I can't injure myself anymore, I'm going to do everything I can do to try to get on the court. You talk about a game in April, the Warriors might not have an April if they don't win tomorrow night. I don't think that's being overblown. So if Kuminga doesn't play, I would assume it's because the guy's really injured. Now, we've all had cortisone shots. Athletes take cortisone shots all the time. I understand what tendonitis is. Tendonitis is
both knees.
Yeah.
Both knees he had
Yeah.
tendonitis. It's not a sprained ankle. It's not something to sneeze at. It's a serious injury.
It's serious, but it comes and goes.
It might be concerning.
Yeah,
it might be concerning when it comes to this point, Frank. He's going to want the bag. He's going to want a mass contract.
Right.
If this lingers, do you think that Joe Lacob's really going to want to pay a 21-year-old with knee tendonitis in both knees a max contract? I mean, I might have to be a little skeptical on it. Be like, hey, I don't know if he's going to be able to.
I don't think they want to pay him a max contract because they don't want to pay him a max contract. I don't care if he was Hercules. You know,
he's going to get it back though.
No. He's going to get a nice contract. He's getting a nice contract. There's no doubt about that.
He might get more than Jordan Poole.
Huh?
He might get more than Jordan Poole. He might get more than Jordan Poole.
Well, every year the market goes up, so I think he'll get that little bit of what the market offers him. But I think somewhere between 120 and 130 is what he's going to get. Now, it's going to be interesting because the Warriors really don't have to extend him this year. I'm sure he wants to be extended this year, but they don't have to do it this year. You know, so we'll see what happens. The reason why I mentioned Kuminga is because I don't know if they have enough to beat Dallas without him. With him, I think that they can beat him. But without him, I mean, think about it. Wiggins he had a poor game against San Antonio. If he goes 2 for 12, 2 for 13 against Dallas, the way that they play offense, I don't think the Warriors can win that game. I don't. Maybe I'm wrong. Hopefully I'm wrong. They have been playing well. They've been playing good defense. Luka went crazy last game against Houston. It'll be interesting to see how he does against the Warriors. I mean, if you hold him to 30 or less, you got to think you've done a terrific job, right?
Oh, yeah, of course. I mean,
you know,
when it comes to Andrew Wiggins, I think that Dallas has that effect on him. Every time he sees Luka, like he's like, all right, I can get any shot I want, and I know I've done good things against this guy. Like, right. I think he goes to a certain place when he plays Dallas. It's like when he sees Luka, when he sees that Maverick logo, he's like, all right, it's on. Now, I wish he would do that for every team, but I just see him against the Dallas Mavericks. I'm thinking he always has a great or good to great game. I think he's going to have a great game tomorrow.
Yeah.
Go
ahead. I'm sorry.
No worries. I interrupt you all the time. That's my bad. The person I'm most concerned about is probably Klay Thompson. He can't go 13 points and 2 from 8 from deep. If he does that, I don't think they'll win the game. Because I think Kyrie Irving's going to tear him up. I really do. I'm
a bigger Klay fan this year than I've ever been in my life. And I've never really been like a two-hand clapping Klay fan. I mean, I respect him. I know he's awesome. But I've been a fan of Klay this year because everybody else has not. And I don't mean everybody. But he's had a lot of heat. And you mentioned Klay. Klay won the game yesterday. That game was in the balance. A dude that shot 1 for 7 from 3. He catches the ball, no hesitation, and basically nails the game for the Warriors. He's just different, man. That guy is different.
He's got shooter's mentality. He's like, all right, if it's not falling, the next one's going to fall because I'm going to keep on
I'm rolling with Klay, man. I'm rolling. I mean, I hear commentators talking about Klay. I'm like, what are you talking about? This dude, by the numbers, is a top 15 two-guard in the NBA this year. And people act like he should be playing at the Y. The reality is people compare Klay to Klay. Stop comparing Klay to Klay.
Yeah, his old self. He's not that player anymore.
No.
Totally unfair.
But he's still a top 15 two-guard in the NBA.
Oh, definitely.
Mark Gregg says that flip shot from Luka was sick. One of the best shots we've ever seen, right?
Yeah. Going back to the Wiggins thing I was telling you about. His last 2 games against Dallas, he's averaging 15 points and 5 rebounds. I'll take that all day.
He plays well against Dallas. He plays well against Dallas. He does.
You know why he plays well? You know why he plays well? Because Luka doesn't guard him. Because he takes Luka one-on-one. Luka's not. He's not a great defender. He's not an all-world. He's not an all-NBA defender.
Great defender?
No.
Great defender.
Exactly.
Yeah. Although his numbers are a little better this year, but he's not a defender. Period.
Yeah.
You know.
Him or Kyrie.
Yeah. Kyrie puts so much pressure on you offensively that his offense almost becomes part of his defense because, I mean, the guys are tired on the other end because he puts a lot of pressure on you. And mentally, I think he wears on people because he's so damn good. So it's going to be an interesting game. Again, the Draymond Jackson Davis combo at the center position has been a big hit for the Warriors because of the size of Dallas. They got to play well for the Warriors to have a chance to win. They have to.
Remember the last time they played Dallas, Draymond didn't play. And did Steph play? I don't think Steph played.
Well, they got blown out. Play? I mean, Kerr just threw that game in. They got killed.
Was Steph injured that game?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. No, he didn't play. I remember it. They lost by 30.
But it was a close game. I think it was like a 6-point game in the fourth quarter. I can't remember. All I know is, let me look it up really quick.
What did you think about Houston? You think Houston's for real? I mean, they finally lost, but that team had won 10 games in a row. A lot of people think that coaching doesn't matter. Emi Udoka is a hell of a coach. Know why he's a great coach?
Yeah.
Because he's honest and he holds players accountable. Jason Tatum said Emi Udoka is the best coach he's ever played for.
That's high praise from a guy who got let go from off the court issues. Like,
I don't know about now, but he says, as recently as last year, at the beginning of the year, because I still talk to him. Like, they have a relationship. They talk to each other. He said he's the best coach he's ever played for.
Wow. I have to correct myself on the Steph Curry didn't play. He played 35 minutes against Dallas, scored 25 points. Klay Thompson only scored 3 points. 1 of 6 from 3. 132, 122.
That was the last game they played?
Yeah, last game they played.
Okay. I mean, Jesus, man, I'm getting old, man. That's terrible.
Hold on. No, hold on. That was first game. My bad.
Yes.
Yeah, my bad.
I'm right.
They still lost by 10, 109-99.
Last game they played?
Yeah, last game they played. Lost by 10, 109-99. But Steph Curry didn't play.
Right.
And Draymond Green didn't play.
Okay. So there's hope for me, man. There's hope. I still got
there
hope.
Is hope.
My memory's not that. I still got a good memory. All right, I love it. And things I don't know, I always have Mark to build me up. When Klay is square to the basket, he is a better shooter. I would assume you wanted to say. Yeah, I mean, dude still knocks down shots. And I'm happy for Moody, man. I mean, we saw the essence of Moody against San Antonio. Not a great shooter, not the best decision maker, but non-stop action, offensive rebounder, play defense, muscles himself into a 15-point game with a considerable plus minus in the right direction. Dude could be balling for some other teams. There's nothing for you and I to hang our hats on to say that he's even going to get in the game tomorrow. I'm sure he will, but you understand what I'm saying.
If Jonathan Kuminga is not playing, he should definitely get in the game tomorrow. They need him.
He should play regardless. We got that dog in him.
But you know why he doesn't play regardless, Frank? He doesn't have a consistent 3-point shot.
No, that's not why he doesn't play. That's not what
it is, Frank.
No,
Frank, if he could make his 3-pointers consistently, he'd be a starter in this league. I truly believe that.
Isn't that like an unintelligent way of coaching, though? I mean, give me a break. You know how many
No,
people who
it's
don't
not.
make 3-point shots consistently?
No,
Are you
but
kidding me?
on this team, you need to. That's why he's not playing.
What
You
is
get the
Brandon?
look-
What is Brandon Podzinski shooting from 3-point range?
I
that,
think
man?
he's shooting 40%.
No,
I think he's
hell
shooting
no.
40%.
Hell. Look at
What?
it.
Okay, if it's close to 40%, then you gotta tell me I'm not wrong. I'm crazy. Let me
I
look
would
it
tell
up.
you. I thought you was gonna say that I have to buy you something else. I'm like, I already bought you a $45 hat.
It's
That-
$35.
No,
And you know what?
No,
You
the
better-
shipping.
you better-
Listen, with the shipping and everything, the taxes, it actually
That's
came
not my
like
control,
42.
Frank.
I
That's not
know,
my
man.
control, Frank. Hey, you should have never made that bet. You should have known Draymond was going to miss
Listen.
more than 10 games for that
I'm
plot.
joking, man. Go ahead. What does he shoot from 3? I'm joking.
Hold on, let me see. Just a regular season 3-pointer. Ooh, it's closer than I thought. 36.9.
Okay.
Yeah,
And
more-
what is Mooney shooting? 33?
let me check it out real quick. Moses Moody, 3-pointers, 34.
Right. Come on, man. Listen, Kerr.
That's 2%, right? That's a big
Stop
deal.
it. Are you got people listening to you right now, dude.
That's a big. When
You
it comes
got
to
people.
percentage-
Hold on. You have so much credibility. Right now, you're losing the credibility. When you talk about 36% versus 34, come
I'm
on.
talking about. Okay, if somebody said Steph Curry shot 36% in his MVP season, and then he said he's decreasing, he's only shooting 34% from 3, people will be freaking out. Frank, you
idiots.
know it's a big deal.
They know
I
nothing
know
about
they're
basketball.
Frank, I know, but when it comes to analytics, people freak out over 2 percentage points.
Well, that's my point. And
watch
that's
the game.
Part of Kerr's problem this year is he's been married to analytics. And the fans got that right. Because listen, more times than not, when Moody's had an opportunity to play, he's played well. More times than not. And the idea and the idea that he's not playing because he shoots 34% from 3 as opposed to 36 is insane. With
I
all
completely
the other plays that he makes. So, let's just hope the guy plays. All right. Now, what do you think about this? I think the Lakers are going to continue to win. I think the play-in opponent for the Warriors could be the Sacramento Kings. What do you think about that?
Is Malik Monk and who else?
He's done.
Malik Monk and Kevin Huerter are out for the season, right?
Yeah.
Correct?
I mean, Malik is
28 games.
They said 4 to 6 weeks. He's done, dude.
I don't know Sacramento's schedule, to be honest. I'm looking at it right now. They got the Clippers tomorrow. We got your Knicks on Thursday. They got the Celtics. They got the Nets. The Thunder. They're only easy games against the Portland Trailblazers. Last game of the season.
I looked at it earlier today, and they might be in the play-in.
I don't think they might be. They will be.
So what do you think?
Yeah, they're already in the play-in. They're 8th. They're 8th right now. They might drop.
Well, not say play-in. I mean 9 and 10. That's what I mean. And the reason why I say 9 and 10 is because you can lose at 7 and 8, and your season's not over. 9 and 10, that's it. You don't want to really be in that situation. So,
no, you do not.
Yeah, man, Sacramento is in a tenuous situation. I think the Lakers are going to move up, and it wouldn't surprise me if the Lakers got the 6. They'll definitely go to, I think, 6 or 7. Because I think
the Lakers, what are they? They're about a game. They're half a game from Sacramento, and they're about 2 games from Phoenix. I don't know. They're about 3 games from New Orleans for 6, and 8 games left. It's gonna be a difficult task for the Lakers to get to 6. But I definitely agree. They might move to 8, or they might move to 7.
Yeah, they got a chance.
Yeah, I really think that Sacramento is going to fall because, looking at the schedule and looking at the Lakers' schedule, Lakers got the Wizards, you got the Grizzlies, Pelicans might not be playing for anything with the last game. They might have that 4th seed locked up. You got the Cavaliers who might have, they're playing for something, but it's not like all these teams don't have tough opponents. I mean,
No,
you got the
but Sacramento, I think when I looked at their schedule, I read the tea leaves, the rumblings of how they're doing chemistry wise, and then if you go back to the Warriors series against the Kings last year, beyond De'Aaron Fox, the second best player on the team was Malik Monk. Yeah. So
it was De'Aaron Fox, Malik Monk, Domantas Sabonis. That was their.
So, I mean, I quietly root for Sac, for obvious reasons. They gave me my start up there. But they're in a bit of trouble. They really are. And, I also talk about, like, Sabonis a little bit. I'm sure they got great coaches there, but they talk about his double-doubles like they're like gold bullion or something. It's like these things don't really necessarily mean anything. It's like, how does that translate to winning?
I literally, I don't want to get it. I know I might get a lot of flack from Sacramento from this, but I literally think Domantas Sabonis and double doubles are kind of fake calories. They're empty calories for me. Like when I see him, it's like, all right, you're going to bully somebody, you're going to give a shoulder to somebody, you're going to push him out the way, and you're going to give him an easy layup. All right, but when the game matters most, and you need to hit a 15-foot elbow jumper, and when people are sagging off you, you're not going to hit that. Like. It's just, my thing is, why isn't he going to hit it? Because he doesn't take it. It's like, okay, so like if he watches the tape, because I like the guy. I think he's a tough dude. But here's the thing. You're right. If you just pound it into the shoulder of someone, you got guards coming down and swiping the ball, and you're not elevating, the referee's not going to call a foul. He needs to catch the ball in the post, find the basket, elevate, contort, and put the ball in the basket. He'd be a much better player. I'd rather him shoot a higher percentage inside against good competition, not against players who don't play defense, as opposed to, pulling 12, 13 rebounds a game. I'll take 9 or 10 rebounds with better offense out of the post. Because that's going to hurt the Kings. The Kings are not going to do very well if they're feeding the ball into him. He's being double and triple teamed, throwing the ball towards the basket and expecting a foul call. He's just not going to get it. It's not. Yeah, it's not. And we all know playoff basketball is refereed differently than regular season basketball. We just all know that. The game stops. It slows down. You go to a more half-court offense, and referees are going to let them play. You're not always going to get the foul calls you're going to get that you do in the regular season. And I just think that when it comes to playoffs, you and I both know that your weaknesses are exposed. Teams expose your most pressing weaknesses. And I think Sacramento's most pressing weakness is Sabonis in that 15-foot jumper. They'd rather have Sabonis take a 15-foot jumper who he can't hit consistently than De'Aaron Fox driving down the lane and, flying past you like a F-150 jet or something like that.
Well, to be fair, when the Kings are shooting well, they can beat anybody. Because they have tremendous athletes. Like the Lakers don't want to play the Kings. The Kings are a terrible matchup for the Lakers. They just run their asses up and down the court. But for teams that specialize in half-court execution, i.e. the Warriors, the Kings struggle with teams like that. So, it's going to be interesting. If I ask you one player from the Warriors tomorrow night that I should keep my eye on and needs to have a really good game, who would you say?
One player, I'm going to go back to Klay Thompson.
Okay.
I really think that Klay Thompson needs to have a good game for them to be able to keep up with the firepower that Luka Doncic and Kyrie Irving have.
What does that look like? What does a good game look like? What's a good game look like?
He doesn't have to go 37 points in the quarter. I really don't think so. I think a good game for him, I would say, he's getting to a nice rhythm. He's not letting his offensive mistakes dictate his defensive pressure on the ball and his attitude and energy. In terms of points, I could see him having a good game, having 15 to 21 points, but not all threes. He can hit a three here occasionally, but I think when Klay Thompson is his best, he's hitting that elbow jumper and he's hitting a runner off the glass, and he's posting up a smaller defender and taking him down to the low block and turning him around and having that fadeaway jumper. A 15-point game with maybe 4 or 5 rebounds, maybe an assist, a 15 to 20 point game, but not an efficient game. Not like he's just hogging the ball. Not he's going like 3 for 11 from 3.
Right.
If he goes like 4 for 8 from 3-point land and shoots the ball 15 times and is super efficient, then and scores like 15 to 21 points, he could go nuclear. I don't know, but that's what a good game looks like to me, and that's why I think Klay Thompson needs to have a good game for them to win.
I'm going to say this: if Jonathan Kuminga plays, the Warriors win. I think if he plays, they win convincingly, meaning by like maybe more than 5. If he doesn't play, I think it's going to be a tough game. I think they still could possibly win because of the point that you made about Wiggins' defense against Dallas. Obviously, Stephen Curry always has to play well against a good team for the Warriors to have a chance to win. But I think Jonathan Kuminga because I think Clay's going to be fine. I think Moody's going to play. I think Podge is going to do his Podge things. Draymond and Jackson Davis are going to do what they're doing. I think it's going to come down with just some of those freakish plays that Jonathan Kuminga can offer. And Wiggins' defense on Luka, if the Warriors can hold him to around, say, 30 points, I think they'll be in good shape.
If Draymond Green is going to score 21 points and bring in 11 boards and have 6 assists and but I'm just saying, we're talking hypotheticals. If he's doing that, then I think they win easily tomorrow. I really do. But I don't think he might be able to do that because Dallas isn't a great defensive team. They really aren't. If you look at the numbers, they're not that great of a defensive team. And I don't know if it was Draymond trying to be on his best behavior from getting ejected from Orlando and trying to be like, hey, I still have some value with you. And like, I don't know if you saw Steph Curry cry when it came to the ejection that Draymond had in Orlando. And
I didn't see him cry. People said that. I didn't see him cry.
No, he had some tears. Well, he pulled his jersey over. He had some tears running down. Go look at the tape. It was pretty telling. But I'm not sure. Yeah. I'm not sure if Sunday's performance against San Antonio was like, hey, I still have some value, because he was getting crushed. He was getting crushed by everyone.
Not by me.
Media.
Not by me.
That's because you're just different, man. You know. Well, you know the ball.
Here's the thing. Here's the thing. Let me get Mark up in here first. Mark says, I don't know which Wiggins will show up. This is a problem. Yeah, Mark, let's assume that the good Wiggins is going to show up, because we really don't know. And also, we can't forget about Chris Paul. Let me give you my take on Draymond. It's all business. It is all business.
What do you mean by that?
Meaning that the Warriors are still an incredibly profitable team. And so many different ways that we can think of. They're the darling of the NBA. They're one of the highest. What?
I wouldn't say they're the darling in the NBA. Hear me out. I'm not saying they're not one of the highest rated teams, but I don't think right now they're the darling of the NBA.
No. Okay. They're one of the highest rated teams in the NBA.
Yeah,
but
not one of the
network television loves to put the Warriors on TV.
Yeah.
Okay.
I understand. Yeah.
The Warriors' local television ratings are among the highest in the NBA for local teams. All right? So the cash register is still ringing. All right?
Oh, no doubt.
This team,
but
let me finish, and then you can jump in. This team is still very competitive. All right? And lastly, the Warriors know that they had some culpability in allowing this Draymond phenomena to start and to happen and to manifest. And they're at the point now, like everybody else, we're like, yo, this needs to stop. And it's going to stop. But they're still locked in. And I'm saying that had it not started at the beginning, we wouldn't be here now. So I look at it from a business perspective. He knows better. It should not happen. Okay, Draymond, don't let it happen again. They know that unless
But how many times have we said this, Frank? I'm sorry to interrupt you. How many times?
It doesn't matter, dude. It does not matter.
So you're still saying the juice is worth the squeeze. You're still saying the juice is worth the squeeze for you. You're still saying that.
Absolutely. Yes. Yes. Do you know that defensive rating when he's not playing? Are you kidding me?
Oh, I understand the Warriors are a better team with him than without him.
Now, what I'm hoping is that this goes away because his next, not personal life, but his next business life will start to be affected by all of this. And I don't know if he quite understands that, but it will. It will. But right now, they want to focus on the positive. To Steve Kerr's credit, he doesn't make any excuses for Draymond's actions anymore. He doesn't. He doesn't go, well, I got to listen, I have to watch the tape. He doesn't do that anymore. He goes, this was unacceptable, it was wrong, and we can't have it. That's about as much as he can do. The only way anything's going to change is if the owner says, yo, I want him traded by 8 o'clock tomorrow morning. Then it happens. If that doesn't happen, then they're going to keep on moving forward because he's that valuable to the organization when the shenanigans and the other stuff is not happening. He's still a damn good player. So,
he is a damn good player. But I think a lot of people are thinking his antics are running thin. I really do. And he can be a great basketball player, but sometimes it's all these actions and all these miscues off the court getting him to not be available. They're going to come up to him and they're going to come and they're going to add up and they're just going to come to him and it's just going to add up and just going to either be the fall of his demise. I really think it will. I really think it will. It's going to add up and it's going to boil over at one point. Like, I think some people thought it might have boiled over in Orlando. I really do.
Come on, man.
Steph Curry cried.
I didn't see that. Draymond's love for playing with his guys should supersede his actions of being ejected from the game. Absolutely, Mark. Mark, listen. Everybody in their mom knows that his actions were just irresponsible, unacceptable, and just flat out wrong. And
his coach said it was unforgivable.
Yes.
Unforgivable.
Yeah.
What does that mean?
That means I'm not making excuses for him. That's what it means. It means I'm not making excuses for him. I don't have the authority to trade him, to sit him out if he's healthy. I don't. He's under contract. He's one of the best 5 players on the team. I'm going to play him, but I don't appreciate what he has done for the team to put the team in this situation. So, I'm rooting for the hope and the belief that he can string together some positive performances and help this team be successful and extend into the playoffs because he's a smart guy. All right. We lost my man Brian. I want to thank him for jumping in the dungeon. I really appreciate it. I want to thank everybody else for tuning in tonight. We've done an hour and 15 minutes. I think that's long enough, and we might jump on tomorrow night as well. All right. So this is going to be the end of this edition of the Dungeon Show. I want to thank you for tuning in. I'm going to do my thing and get out of here. Success in getting paid is a manifestation of the whole process. If you as an individual don't do things to help other people make their lives better, as far as I'm concerned, you haven't done nothing. Hit me up at Big Frank Red on X and hit the like button if you like the show. It certainly helps the algorithm and gets the show out to more people. We really appreciate it. With that said, maybe I'll see you tomorrow night. If not, in the near future, be safe. Good night. Peace.